speaker is going to be a guest speaker for us. He's a member of Golden Gate Toastmasters, one of the biggest one in San Francisco. And as I mentioned to you in the opening, he's now he became a great friend of mine, meeting every Tuesday. Kevin Ringstuff. His intro, he said he's a founder of PetCloud.pet, which is a grief counseling service for people who have lost pets. He spends his days talking about grief and educating people about how they can better support others through their grief. So that's his venture he started. And he has an old English sheepdog named Sir William Weldon, and a cat named France de Lyon. Okay. Okay, and do you have anything you feel grateful for?
I'm grateful for the animals that I have in my life, Ponce de Leon and Brody.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thanks for being a guest speaker again. And his speech title is Our Homeless Pet Operation. Let's welcome Kevin Ringstuff.
Hello, everyone. Hi. My name is Kevin Ringstaff, and I'm glad to be here with you today. And I'm new to San Francisco, and whenever I go to a new place, one of the first things that I like to do is to go around and run my mouth and just like meet people. And I pretty much talk to anyone. And since I'm in the pet industry, I'll go up to people on the street and talk to them about their dogs or their cats or like just anything, because I'm friendly and I like to go out and just meet people. And there was this one person that I met who was a homeless person, and he had a dog with him. And so I went over and talked to him for a long time, and and I was just listening to his story, and he was telling me about this one time where, like, some of the problems that he has being homeless with a pet, because when you're homeless, you have your own set of problems, right? But when you're homeless with an animal, you have a whole entirely different set of problems. And he was telling me about these problems over here. And one in particular, he was telling me about this time where when you're homeless, you can't leave your dog on the street to go inside and go to the bathroom, for instance. So you have to leave your dog outside, and you have to run into Walgreens real quick. And one time when he did that, he was coming back out, and he saw this lady taking his dog and trying to put him into her car. And he runs up to her and like grabs that dog and like takes back his dog. He's like, "Lady, what are you doing?" He's like, "This is my dog." He's like, "Sir, like this dog needs a good home. Like I'm trying to give this dog a good home. Like I'll give you $1,500 for this dog right now, if you'll give him to me." And he was like, "Lady, I need a good home. I need a good home." And that got me thinking, because here in San Francisco, we have right now 7,500 people who are homeless, who live out in the streets. And I listened to a good NPR article the other day that said that about 20% of them own a pet. 20% of homeless people have a pet, which means there's 1,500 people out in the street in San Francisco right now that actively care for an animal. And that's surprising to me. It really was. And it's surprising because when you have a pet and you are homeless, you have a whole litany of other problems. It becomes difficult to care for them. Like for instance, you cannot go to a homeless shelter because they don't allow your pet to go with you. So you just don't take them along with you. You just don't go to a homeless shelter if you care about your animal. You can't go to a hospital. You can't bring your animals in there. You can't. Oh, we've talked about theft too. Homeless people. You can't leave your animals because people will just walk away with them, or they'll get confused and they'll run away. And so, if you want any of these basic services, you have to have someone that you know and trust to watch your animal, or just not be a part of it at all. And that's what many of them choose to do. They just isolate themselves, and they just don't have the same access to services that even regular homeless people have. So with all of this, like, why do you keep a pet? If you're homeless and you have all these problems, why do you still do it? Well, responsibility. Many people feel that when you have a pet, you have to get up. You have to feed your pet. You have to walk your dog. You have to take care of it. And so for some of them, that is the only reason that they get up, is because they have that responsibility. So if that goes away, then they miss it. Protection is another big one, especially in the LGBT community. Because when you're young and you're out in the street and you have a dog, you're less likely to be messed with on the street because you have that extra little bit of that extra person, if you will, who will always be by your side. Companionship is the biggest one, because no matter what, your dog will always be there for you. You can be the lowliest, most downtrodden person in the world, and there's still one person who's going to be happy to see you when you come home. And we said earlier, that's what I'm grateful for, because my dog is going to be super happy to see me when I come home. And it's very important to have that kind of connection, especially when you have it from no one else. Having a pet brings you into a community too. If you ever go out and walk your dog, you make that eye contact with somebody else in the street, and you just instantly have that connection with them. It's like, I know you, I got you. Like when you see a homeless person with a dog or a cat, do you feel more like they're more approachable? I feel like you can go up and talk to them a little bit easier because you have that animal to help break that distance between you. And so after all of this, like here's a question I like to ask, because homelessness could happen to anyone. Like the difference between us right now and us being homeless is a job and support and community. But we can lose all three of those things. And so what would you have to lose before you gave up your pet? Like for me, like I would take my dog with me right onto the street. And like I would give up everything else that I had except for those pets. And so it's just something to think about next time you see a homeless person out there with a pet, to kind of look to it and see what that animal actually means to them and provides for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming for your talk.